The opposition tried to preempt any move by the Modi government to bring in the women's reservation bill by demanding that the government table such a bill in the mystery 5-day session of parliament that begins on Monday. I am Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story. The critical all-party meeting of leaders across the political spectrum got over just moments ago. But if we were expecting further clarity on exactly what is on the agenda for this session, well, at least at the moment, we do not know much more than we knew before this all-party meeting was held. Opposition leaders began the weekend by demanding the tabling of the women's reservation bill. To a large degree, this was seen to be a move by the opposition to preempt such a move by the Modi government. Now, remember, in the listed agenda that is available in the parliamentary bulletin, we do not have much information except one critical legislation, a legislation that will remove the Chief Justice from the process of appointing the Election Commission. This was, of course, something that came into being after the Supreme Court passed an order earlier this year. Apart from that, does the Modi government still have an ace up its sleeve? Clearly, the opposition seems to think so. It kept demanding the full agenda for the session. As and when this story gets more details, we will update you on this special broadcast. But looking at the politics of this impending session, let's introduce our very special panel, our guests today on the program. If we can bring them up now, I can see them now. Yes, we're joined by veteran journalist and author Sukita Srinivas Raju. Always a pleasure. Also joining us from the Congress is the spokeswoman Mahima Singh. Thank you and welcome to the program, ma'am. Also joining us from the BJP is its senior leader Gopal Krishna Agarwal. Welcome to the program, Gopalji. And also joining us is Yashwant Deshmukh, political analyst and heading See Voter, that is, of course, giving us very, very interesting surveys these days. Welcome to the program, Yashwant. Now, let me actually, before I come to the two politicians, get the two non-politicians to maybe try and make sense of what's happening. Yashwant, you've been seeing politics for decades. The opposition clearly is confused. The media is confused. The all-party meeting has happened. The opposition is trying to preempt what is going to happen by saying, bring the women's reservation bill. Praful Patel, now an ally of the government, says we're all very hopeful that the women's reservation bill is going to be brought. This is all we know so far. This could change in the next 30 minutes, but right now at 7:13 p.m. on Sunday evening, this is what we know. What do you think is actually going on, Yashwant?
I think, first of all, they are throwing everyone off the guard to surprise, kind of create a complete strategic chaos, if I may call so, because everything reboots. We don't know what is going to happen, and special sessions are generally reserved for something special. So obviously, the agenda which has been put forward so far, there is nothing special about that agenda. So something is up the sleeves. That's the surprise thing. And obviously, the opposition is kind of, I would say, I won't say startled or disarrayed, but I would just say that they are a little bit nervous what exactly these people are going to pull out from their sleeves. That is something very clear. Yes, I think a lot of indications or something on the women reservation bill that is going on. That could be one of the big things, because actually it has been approved by all the political parties in the past, more or less, barring a few parties who had objected at that point of time, asking for quota within the women's quota. But that is not a binding thing that can be done. I mean, I have my own reservations about this particular, the way the reservation is being planned. That's another thing. But yes, of course, Barkha, if 1/3 of the seats are reserved, then a lot of equations change, because people and political parties are actually not ready for that kind of a change. They don't have that kind of candidates ready-made, and under the circumstances, when you don't have the candidate and you only have the symbol or the national leadership to pull your candidate, then we know who is going to have an advantage in that. So that could be the idea behind this, if they at all push the
Well,
women reservation bill at this point.
well, certainly, Shugata, we have two hints. We had the RSS just 2 days ago talking about the women's reservation bill, and we have the Congress in actually Telangana talking about the women's reservation bill. Shugata, before I come to our two politicians, if indeed that is what comes up at the core of this special session, and Yashwant is right, there's got to be something more to this session than the history of Parliament over 75 years and a pretty regular routine legislative bill to change how appointments are made to the election commission. Uh, do you think that it might be the women's reservation bill, and how might that change politics? Sugata.
Thank you, Barkha. I don't think the women's reservation bill is going to come up. This is my feeling, because I think more the Congress speculates and more the Congress, we puts these conspiracy theories out, quote unquote conspiracy theories of what the BJP may do or may not do. I think they will keep them guessing. My simple understanding is that this is a session that has been called to transition from the old parliament to the new parliament. It's Ganesh Chaturthi. There is an auspicious occasion, and I think they are trying to do it in a quote unquote Hindu way, finding an auspicious day to move from the old parliament to the new parliament. In fact, I got a message even as I'm speaking to you, from somebody who was in the all party meeting, and
Hmm.
the legislative agenda that is there, it's very, very insignificant. In fact, there are four bills that are likely to come up. The first one is the repealing and amending bill 2023 as passed by Lok Sabha, the press and registration of periodicals bill, the advocates amendment bill 2023, and the post office bill. This is something that has been circulated inside the all party meeting. So I
Yeah.
think they'll allow the Congress to speculate. They'll allow the Congress to say that the BJP is going to pull down this and pull down that pillar of democracy. But I think they'll finally not do anything. And then that would sort of,
So
make
you
people.
think? So you think the special session is actually about just moving from the old building into
I
the new
think
one?
so. I think it's a transition session. It's an auspicious occasion. Tomorrow is Ganesh
Ganesh
Chaturthi.
Chaturthi.
2 or 3 days
Yes.
are very, very auspicious in the Hindu calendar. I think they just found a little thing to do it, and they are making the Congress run around.
Yeah.
Speculating on a whole lot of things, throwing a lot of muck at them, and finally they will say, "See, they said all kinds of things, but here we are. We are the protectors of democracy. This is the mother of democracy," and all kinds of rhetoric will start
Yeah.
coming out of that.
So basically, the BJP has succeeded in confusing both the media and the opposition. So
Absolutely.
let me try my luck with Gopal Krishna Agarwal. Of course, it is also the Prime Minister's birthday today. The day began with the Prime Minister taking a metro ride, meeting residents on the metro, opening a new convention center. Those are the images from that metro ride. Gopalji, do you tend to agree with what Shugata is saying, that this is about an auspicious transition, that the parliamentary bulletin has already been published? Everything else is amusing the BJP because everybody is trying to guess, bhai, kya hone wala hai, kya hone wala hai. And sometimes they say what you see is what you get. Maybe what is out in the public domain is actually what's going to happen. Gopalji, can you help us understand? Is there a mystery or is there not a mystery?
No, Barkhaji, I just want to say that I have nothing to speculate, because as far as BJP is concerned or the government is concerned, there are so many things which are happening in the country at the present time, whether it is the Dwarka convention center or the G20, or the today this Prime Minister's birthday. He has launched this scheme for the welfare of this Vishwakarma Yojana. So many things are happening. So why do we need to not discuss them and speculate on things on what will happen? And the thing is, as far as government is concerned, I am very clear that as a party which is in power, we will go by what is stated by the government at present time, what they are doing at present. I have no intention of anything, not doubt on that. So I'll go by what has been said by the official release of the government. And I have no reason, or why I can't understand why is the reason to speculate that what will happen.
Well,
Why can't,
Yashwant,
as you said,
Yashwant Deshmukh calls this strategic chaos.
no, but it is the chaos which is created by, it is in the minds of the opposition. They don't want to live in the present. That is the problem. That they do not know whether to celebrate the democratic institutions. They are talking about media boycott. They are talking about Sanatan Dharma. All this confusion is in opposition's mind. Once they will not come for the flag hoisting, and then some of their leader will come and say that I am not sufficient to participate in this. So the thing is, there is no clarity among them. Yeah, Nitish Kumar will say that I have never boycotted any media personality. So the thing is, so many people, once they will come out with a statement that we will fight the election together, and then AAP will say, no, no, we will fight separately in Punjab, in Delhi, then Congress. So the thing of what I want to underline, Barkha is the confusion is in mind of the opposition. They don't want to accept the reality that India is progressing under Modi. Our the image of India as a global leader has taken a big step to in the world mind. They how why they can't accept it if the
Okay,
global
let me
countries are
ask.
accepting the leadership.
Let me ask Advocate Mahima Singh the point you raised. Mahima ji, you heard Gopal ji. Gopal ji says, Bhai, there is a published agenda. Sugata has quoted from that. That agenda was circulated at the all-party meeting. Your leaders were also present at that meeting. Why is the opposition convinced that there is something more to this than meets the eye? Even Jairam Ramesh 2 days ago said, who's going to believe that only this is what's on the agenda? Maybe this is the truth. Maybe this is the agenda, and maybe the BJP had a little bit of political fun, or rather the government had a little bit of political fun, keeping everybody guessing. Mahima ji.
Jai Hind, there are two highlights in the BJP spokesperson statement that he just made. One is that he said that the opposition doesn't like to live in the present, and the other he said there is so much happening around the country. Before I come to where I would have liked to start from, let me rebut those two, because he's saying we don't like to live in the present. Oh yes, we do like to live in the present. It's just that we have different perspectives. While they want to go and rally in the state of Madhya Pradesh, while Jawans are martyring their lives in Jammu and Kashmir, in Anantnag, we would like to pay homage to them. We would like to stand with their families while the Prime Minister may be busy electioneering all around the year, all around the 5-year plan. We would like to address issues like inflation, unemployment, which are hitting the common man hard. And so, yes, the BJP likes to live in denial. The other is he's saying there's so much happening around the country. Oh, yes, there is so much happening around the country. There has never been such futile dialogues around, religion in this largest democracy in the world, which the BJP fancies running like, more like a suspense thriller film of Alfred Hitchcock's, or like an Abbas Mastan film. Sorry, this largest democracy in the world is not up for running like a suspense thriller film. We would like to know, like it is in all democracies across the world, what is going on in the parliament. What are you calling a special session for? After all, it is the taxpayers' money that you're going to conduct this.
Can I ask a question? They will say the parliamentary bulletin has been published, the all-party meeting has been held, the agenda has been distributed. Why are you not convinced?
However, Barkha ji, you would remember that it is only after Sonia Gandhi ji's letter wherein she pointed out to the 9-fold agenda, where she said, you see, there is Manipur up for discussing. There is a JPC to be formed around the Adani scam. There is inflation. You see, she said caste census needs to be discussed. Rise in communal tension needs to be discussed. So there's a 9-fold agenda. After that, after the pressure from the opposition, they were compelled to put out this such a nominal agenda. And this agenda, if they are to be believed, could have waited for a winter session. Taxpayers' money is no fun to play with. It's not a child's play. The BJP needs to understand that.
Okay, now I want to take this back to Gopalji briefly before I come back to Yashwant and Sugata. Gopalji, there is day 5 of the Kashmir encounter that has taken place. We have lost, 3 and now 4 actually of our brave soldiers in the line of duty. That operation is on to smoke out the terrorists and to encircle them. The Congress leader Mahima Singh says there is a lot more to talk about. Why this? It's a kind of game to keep this kind of mystery around the session, and it trivializes everything else that's happening in the country. How would you respond to that?
Barkha, I just want to say, because I am in politics for a long period, every institution has different roles. And wherever a meeting takes place, you do not write what is going to be discussed. It is what agenda means, what laws, etc., are being passed, or what will happen about the laws. So Parliament is a platform to pass legislations, and for that, in an agenda, you will just put what is there for an agenda to take up as a bill. Other thing for discussion, nobody puts the thing, we will discuss this, we'll discuss this. You opposition is free to discuss everything. We invite them to come to Parliament, talk to their agenda, they talk to their issues, bring their issues. Nobody is stopping them to discuss. So discussion is not put in the agenda. There can be so many things. So when opposition of Honorable Sonia ji has put up 9 points for discussion, surely she can bring those issues for discussion. Who is refusing? So you do not put what will be discussed in the Parliament as an agenda. So this is basically
Okay.
what I tell you is the confusion is so much about the role of the institution, role of the democracy, role of the government, role of the opposition. Everywhere it is completely chaos in the opposition's mind. They are
Okay.
completely not in the living in the present. They are not going. They are not accepting the leadership that the people of India has elected Narendra Modi ji with a hefty majority
Let me,
to be the Prime
yes.
Minister of India, and he has the in his domain to decide on things which the governance requires. Even on
Okay.
the
Let
issues
me,
where the governance is the point, where the government is within its right to decide and act, they have objections to that also. And they have
let
even
me,
carried that objection to the international levels, where
let,
how they call it at international platform, the leader are saying that democracy is not existing in India when
let me
every
bring
time
in,
elections are. So these are all completely chaotic situations in oppositions dealing.
let me bring in Yashwant and Sugata. Sorry, my magic, give me just let me just get a comment each from them, and I'll come to you right after. Now, Yashwant, actually, there is, there is something I would say funny, but also kind of ironic about how little the media actually knows about what's happening. So if I look at the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we have covered the gamut from there are going to be early elections. There's going to be one nation, one poll, which may or may not happen, but it's going to happen further down the road because the first meeting of the panel is on the 23rd of September. So it's clearly not in this panel. Or there's going to be a resolution to change the name of the country. By the way, you don't need 5 days. You don't need 5 days to do that. Then we have come to women's reservation. Now we are looking at a scenario where none of this may happen. Shugata thinks maybe it's just as it seems. Maybe it was just pulling the chain of everybody, changing the headline, setting the cat among the pigeons, strategic chaos, as you call it. And it was all sound and fury signifying nothing. Are you convinced, or your instinct tells you something different?
Well, the instinct says that they can do all of this and none of this as well. I mean, because of a simple fact that, as I said right from the starting, the idea was to create confusion, and idea was to create, I mean, everybody to reboot the machines for no reason whatsoever. And they are very well entitled to have a special session just for the inauguration of the new parliament, Barkha, because I mean, we got a new parliament. That itself is a big enough occasion to call a special session. But classically speaking, they did not say that. They haven't said that, okay, we are calling it to inaugurate. I mean, on a Ganesh Chaturthi, on this auspicious occasion, we want to just have our first session in the parliament. Good enough. But they haven't done that. So obviously, they can have. They are very much in a position to pull out some surprise at the end, put up UCC or women reservation with or some big ticket thing which
Yeah.
can kind of reboot, or they can very well just let it pass. That we had nothing hidden, it was on there. We just wanted to use the Ganesh Chaturthi as the right day to start the new parliament, and that's what it is. Until that point of time, all the studies and everything, it's like nobody knows what is happening. So that itself is a unique proposition. So whichever way it is, but still something tells me that, I agree with the Congress spokesperson on one thing, that probably till it is over, nobody is going to say that it is just plain vanilla. Something is there. Something is there. That something, that suspicion, or that something kind of of an unknown thing,
Yeah.
that is very much in everybody's mind, and maybe that's precisely what they want to do.
Now, we are. Okay, can I just see what the Parliamentary Affairs Minister has said? He's reacting to the opposition's demand for the Women's Reservation Bill. Can we bring up the next comment? He said, appropriate decision will be taken at an appropriate time. Okay, it's certainly not vanilla, but the statement is so open-ended that we don't know anything, basically. Shugata, you think actually shayad kuch nahi hone wala, kuch zyada nahi hone wala. It's a routine session. But Yashwant is right. What would the government have gained by doing this other than had a few laughs at the media's expense or the opposition's expense?
No, no, but no, Barkha. I mean, I think it's very, very clear. It's a transition thing to a different house. You're getting into the house and you'll start functioning from there. So they have chosen an auspicious moment for that. So that is the basic understanding that I have. And number two, see, this is also very vaguely called an Amritkal session. I mean, 75 years of parliament and etc. etc. So that allows them to grandstand on a lot of things. So recently there's been the success of the moon mission, there's been the success of G20. So they'll say that India is great, so they'll put you on an orbit of celebration, a trajectory of celebration. I think that is about setting the narrative for the parliament election as well. And it's a very interesting strategy, because the Congress is on a completely negative mode. They're boycotting everything. They boycotted the new parliament, they boycotted the one party, one election, one nation, one election panel. And they've boycotted the Independence Day. They did not technically boycott, but Karge never went there. So there are a series of things where they're being made to look like they have a negative mindset. So I think it's the BJP's core idea. I mean, a strategic idea to present a very positive spin to the whole thing that's happening in India, and make India look big in the eyes of the world, in the eyes of the citizens of India, and they have a lot to sort of quote unquote celebrate. So I think they'll make use of that. They'll set the narrative.
I think it's a very interesting.
One last point, Barkha, and also the BJP government has never used the parliament to bring in any major thing. If you look at it in the last 9 years.
370.
Yeah, but Article 370, but then that was part of the agenda, that was part of their thing, and they brought it in August of 2019, and every one of us knew that they'll be bringing in something like that, and that was debated it was a longer session. You can't do it in a 5-day session.
Yeah,
so something like that did not happen. Yeah.
I want to pick up this very interesting point you've made, and I want to actually bring in the Congress leader first, because you said what might happen is that the BJP frames this session as an Amritkal session. It goes into it with the moon mission landing, with the G20 success, and says, hey, hello, Congress, you're being negative, as you just said. Mahima, I must ask you to respond to that. The latest controversy that has enveloped the India alliance is the decision to boycott 14 television anchors across 9 channels, whom you've called hate mongers and so on. But not all the allies seem to be on board. Nitish Kumar's comment you heard Gopalji quoting. Shugata's larger point, that will this be a contrast of positive versus negative? How do you respond to that?
While the BJP may continue to play possum with the democracy, with the largest democracy of the world, they may deny the martyrdom of our Jawans, they may deny inflation, unemployment, all of that. Just now when I was hearing Shugata ji, he used the word boycott, and that's what you've questioned, Barkha, here. Boycott is not the word, I think. Non-cooperation is the word. We have blocked ourselves from participating in the negativity and the hate mongering which is being spread at the behest of the BJP in this country. You see the names that have come out, or as I like to call them, G14. You see, after the huge success of G20, it is the G14 that we are witnessing, who have just refuse to give up on the hate agenda that they have been spreading. Our media departments have warned them umpteen number of times, yet it just went on and on and on. And so here we are. We just said that we'll stop appearing on your shows until you agree that, you see, we need to discuss inflation, we need to discuss unemployment, we need to discuss our wrestlers, champions, their issues, women issues, China issue. We need to discuss it in an equitable way rather than more biased. So that's one thing. Now, you see, the BJP spokesperson, when he was speaking the last time, that's what I wanted to remind. And I think the whole narrative, the whole tone of the debate that, sounds to me is like, you see, it's an auspicious occasion, which is, of course, the Hindutva agenda of the BJP is being very well fueled in here. Even if it is that, then inauguration happened on the 27th of May. Just now, I think either Shugata ji or Yashwant ji, one of them said that we did not even participate. We boycotted the new parliament also. I think Shugata ji said. We didn't boycott the new parliament. We boycotted a ceremony where the head of both the houses, which is the president of India, was not invited. So we said, you see, the chief of the family, the head of the family is not invited, the head of the houses is not invited. Then, on what grounds do you expect us to be there? Neither the vice president nor the president was there. So it is the BJP that is spreading negativity in this country. It is the BJP that denies the issues of public importance in this country, exactly what we've been discussing over the past 2 days in Telangana. And there has been a resolve to address those issues in the most pragmatic way by providing people the 5 guarantees in Telangana latest. Earlier, you have seen the success of those guarantees in Karnataka and Rajasthan and Himachal. So they may go on propagating hatred and propagating a narrative that it is the opposition that doesn't want to live in the present. I think the people can very well see it is the BJP that likes to live in denial.
Okay. That was a lot you said, and I want to take it to Gopal ji, but also I just want to say that there is developing news coming in of an Indian Army Jawan who was on leave, having been abducted and murdered in Manipur. Although his name has been identified, we are not revealing it because we would like his family and the officials to first be able to assess the situation. I'm just flagging this, Gopalji, because when we look at the twin situations in Manipur and in Kashmir, these are the serious situations. This is where our attention in the media, in our parliament should be. Instead, we are caught up in, should the Congress boycott these anchors, not boycott these anchors? I'm not saying the larger media debate doesn't have significance. It certainly does. But I just want to flag that, people may say this session of parliament, other than what has been put on the agenda, we should make use of this time to talk about Manipur, to talk about Kashmir, to talk about what's happening to our soldiers, to what these things, which the entire country will agree are very important issues. Gopalji.
Barkha, these are very important. Manipur is very important. Kashmir is very important. And we need to discuss, I agree. But last time when the parliament was in session, the detailed speech of the Home Minister, it was completely not attended. You ask the question and run off. Is this the way you discuss the issue? So the thing is, what I want to say is, there are so many issues. India is a country of 140 crore people. There are so many issues. Definitely there are good news, there are bad news, inflation, price rise, recession, economy, COVID, Manipur, 370. But there is an issue of success of G20 also, Chandrayaan 3 also, the way we handled the COVID for vaccination of 230 crore people, the way post-COVID, the world economy is under recession and our economy is an outlier. Our inflation is under control. 2 days back, inflation figures came, which was less than 6%. And the way RBI has been appreciated by global central banks, the way they have handled the post-COVID situation, macroeconomic parameters, fiscal deficit. The thing is, you discuss both of we are saying that discussions of all things are important, but that doesn't mean that the government should not act. We should completely not hold G20 summit. That we should not try.
Yes, of course. Nobody is saying that.
So the thing is, what I'm telling you, Barkha ji, is that we are ready to discuss everything, even Manipur. You should relay what Home Minister said about Manipur. It was an extensive way how government is dealing, what we are doing. But if you say that the problems, we are not saying as a government that all problems have been solved in the country. There are problems, there are legacy issues. We are trying to solve, we have solved, but we want to move forward ahead. There are several issues where we seek the opposition support for them. So issues can be discussed, but legislation is an important for us. Governance is important. The last point I want to just mention in 10 seconds is this all things is coming from the mindset of the opposition. They are not accepting the Prime Minister that the right of governance to decide what is important in his priorities is his prerogative. Government, people of the country have given him a strong mandate. He needs governance. He needs to move forward. He needs to act, and it is within his constitutional rights to do it. Even those things which is within the constitutional right of the Prime Minister are being denied by the opposition.
Okay, we have time just for closing comments by Shugata and Yashwant. Shugata, I'll start with you. Do go ahead. I think nobody would say, and I think you might be right, that the government walks into the session with two feel-good moments, right? Those feel-good moments are the moon mission and the G20, sort of India's wins at the G20. On the other hand, there is, of course, the continued Pakistan provocation in Kashmir, and there is a very, very grave sort of internal situation in Manipur. Now, the Congress argues that all we're saying is talk about the important things. The BJP argues the business of governing a big, diverse, complex country in India will have many parallel strands all at once. Quick closing comment, Shugata.
I completely agree with the Congress. There are lots of issues and all of them have to be discussed. But my simple objection is that the Congress should also notionally participate in a few things. They should create this narrative that they are participative. The kind of narrative that is getting established, I'm sorry to say, is that they are boycotting everything. Mahima ji may not agree with the word boycott. I'm using it for the sake of convenience. For example, she said G14, we are boycotting G14. It's not boycotting, but non-cooperation. But they should actually be non-cooperating with G114, not 14, because they're so myopic in their viewpoint, because they're only speaking about Delhi and Hindi and English. What about all the regional languages? You have people in the regional languages who are masters of hate, much more than the people you have named, the 14 people. So, you're very myopic, and those things are being used by the BJP in a far interesting way to frame the whole problem.
Let me give the last word to Yashwant. But while we're talking about, of course, what's happening in the southern states, Udaynithi Stalin's statement has also given the BJP a kind of talking point against the opposition. And again, the complexity of our country is that statement will play out very differently politically in Tamil Nadu and very differently outside of Tamil Nadu. Yashwant, last word to you. We don't know. The honest answer is we don't know. If we go by the official agenda, then this is a ceremonial moment. And I think, as Shugata says, an opportunity for the BJP to talk about all that has gone right for India, and opportunity for the opposition to say, look, here are the things that still need answers. But I'll go with your last instinct as we close the show. Tomorrow, what will you be looking for in Parliament?
Barkha, very crisply, to celebrate our heroes or to give a narrative of what good things that have happened in 75 years while we are moving into the new Parliament, I don't think we can actually find any fault into that. And as far as Shubhata is very right that, if we are talking about the narratives, I guess that we discussed this, Barkha, earlier, that when the opposition didn't take the offer of, having a complete full session on Manipur, which Amit Shah said that, they are okay with that. I think that is something which went wrong in terms of narrative. And now officially boycotting or unofficially not participating, whichever way, in the narrative, I feel in the public perception, this is probably not going to go down well. Opposition should be aggressive, no doubt about that. Opposition has all the rights to point at the failures of the government, no doubts about that. But I am just here to study. I mean, as an expert who looks at the perception of the public as such, somehow I feel that this narrative of non-participation, non-cooperation, whichever way one look at it, or official or unofficial boycott, starting from Manipur to up to the even the anchors thing, this entire narrative thing is probably not working in opposition's favor.
Okay.
This is my humble submission.
Okay, I will have to leave it there. Mahima ji, you have a 10-seconder. Okay, can we just unmute Mahima? 1 second, ma'am. 1 second. Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
While the secretive ways of the BJP are perilous for our democracy, what we are hearing here, we need to also be reminded that it is the BJP which has an unannounced ban on all media. No press conference by the Prime Minister in the last 9 years. Also, there are multiple anchors and channels that the BJP doesn't send its spokespersons to. I'll end it at that.
Okay, Gopalji, I'll allow you a 10-seconder. We've gone, of course, into the realm of the media debate, and we need to have a separate program on that. But very quickly, I'll give you a last 10 seconds as well.
Barkha ji, I just want to tell there is nothing secretive. We are doing with full constitutional transparency what is required on the agenda issue about the parliament. And discussions is not part of this is speculation of opposition and their confusion that continues to prevail in their debates.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Even if Ganesh Chaturthi passes as the ceremonial first day in Parliament, I know the way we all are, we'll still be looking at the remaining 4 days to see what might happen till the very last day. As Yashwant said, till it's over, it isn't over. It's going to be an interesting week nevertheless. Thank you very much to Mahima ji and Gopal ji, to Shugata and Yashwant, and to all of you for watching. Have a great Sunday. See you soon. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.